Awesome. Well, thank you so much for meeting me today. You look gorgeous as always. Your
Yeah.
outfits definitely drew me to you when I first saw you.
Well, I'm all about some statement pieces, that's for sure.
Yeah, can you show that off a little bit for a second?
Uh,
Okay, all
all the
right.
turquoise. Do you know who Iris Apfel is? She's like 101 years old. She's been on like Old Navy commercials and she has the big
Yes,
black glasses and she
yes,
always has like 73 pounds of jewelry.
yes.
That is my spirit animal.
I love
So
her.
I'm
When's your
here
birthday?
for color. Mine,
Yeah.
December 4th. It's actually coming up.
What's your sign?
I'm a Sagittarius.
Okay. I was just wondering with all the bling.
Yeah,
But
I don't know if that even tracks with, I'm not like super into that. So I don't know if that tracks with my sign or not.
I wasn't until I started doing hair, and then like certain people, I would be like, I do not vibe with this person. Then I'd be like, when's your birthday? And it'd always be like this one sign. I'm like, okay, maybe there's a little weight to it because
That's
immediately I'm like,
funny.
ah, go away.
That's
So,
funny.
I'm gonna launch your podcast during the financial pillar of being a rich bitch because I feel like you're open to being a little bit vulnerable. You have multiple businesses, so I feel like you have a lot of insight. What there's so many different ways that we could set our future selves up, right?
Sure,
We could do stocks, we could do savings. There's a plethora, right? But
sure,
another way we can set ourselves up is also by having businesses.
totally.
And, a lot of people think they're going to change in their 9 to 5 to work maybe less, but maybe you can give us a little insight on that.
Yep.
So, Christine, can you tell us about yourself?
Sure. So I am 37, almost
Me
30.
too.
Oh, we're two Christines that are 37. Um, yeah, I don't meet a lot of Christine, so this is actually fun.
Yeah, me either.
Um, so I'm 37, almost 38. I opened my first, well, I'll quick even give you a little bit more of my background. So I am from Grand Junction originally. I'm a Grand Junction native. I went to high school here, everything, graduated, moved away for college. I went to UNC in Greeley. I studied business communications and minored in um, public speaking, that kind of thing. And then I waited about a year or so in between college and moving back home and just kind of felt things out. Came back to Grand Junction. I always knew I wanted to be here. And then about a year after being back, I opened my business. So I graduated college in 3 years instead of four. So that put me at about 21.
Okay,
And I
overachiever.
moved here. I guess so. I don't know. I didn't feel like it at the time. But I moved back here at 21 and opened my business at 22. So I have had my business for 50, just about 15 years. December will be 15
So,
years.
are you married?
Yes.
Kids?
Yes. We
How
have
old
four.
were you when you got married?
So I was 27,
Oh,
27.
good for you. So, you had a business as a
No, I was
solo.
25. Fail. 25. We've been married for 12 years. So,
Okay, so you had a business as a solo woman.
yeah.
Okay, what business was that you started?
I opened Wax It Salon in Grand Junction, and then that kind of evolved into all of the other ones.
So, were you a waxer or what
No,
was
I'm not
the
even licensed. I will never wax you, do your hair, nothing. So I just have the business background. I have the college background. So the very quick short story as to how I even ended up here is that when I was in college, I worked at a waxing salon, just a full body waxing salon as a receptionist. And it was a locally owned place in Greeley. And as I graduated, the owner approached me about maybe bringing one here to Grand Junction.
Okay.
And I was open to that idea. It seemed like something that really could work out. She was never going to open one over here because it's so far and hard to reach if something went wrong or whatever. And so she approached me about that. I said, yes, let's do it. And then cut to the chase, she sent me an absolutely atrocious contract that was just not even of planet Earth. And
Really?
yeah, it was absolutely insane. It basically said that I take 100% of the risk and make 33% of the profit. And this waxing salon is not some name that you would recognize. There's absolutely no recognition over here. There was no benefit. There was nothing. They weren't going to sign their names on the lease. They weren't going to do anything. And so I was 22 and I was like, even I know that was stupid.
Yeah.
And so if I knew with zero business experience that that was a bad deal, it probably was a really bad deal. So I
Yeah.
said, no, thank you. I'm going to pass. I can take 100% of the risk and make 100% of the profit. So
Right.
I'll do that. Basic math seems like that works out better for me.
Right. Dodge
So
that
here we are.
bullet.
Totally. And knowing what I know now, she certainly had positives. Obviously, me even considering that partnership, there were some positives there, but certainly probably way more red flags. So, business partnership is really hard, and that was never going to work.
Yeah. So what was your next business?
So then, after a handful of years of being here in Grand Junction and owning this location, I opened a location in Castle Pines, Colorado, over kind of by Castle Rock ish,
Okay. Yeah.
out there. And we opened a business over there. I did have a partner with that. And he moved over there to do it. And I also had one of my managers from here move over there. She was ready for some adventure. And so she managed it.
And this is
Along
also a waxing salon?
another
Okay.
wax. Yep.
Yeah.
And we signed a great lease that kind of gave us an out after a year, after 12 months, if we didn't feel like it was a great fit. And another long story short, it's actually a short story. It was just not a great location. I did not pick a good location there. And I think we could have probably grinded it out for a handful of years and it would have worked and the traction would have come along, but it just wasn't going to be fast enough for me having people over there living there trying to make a living, needing income.
Right.
It just wasn't going to produce fast enough for that to make sense. So after the year, we got out of that lease, brought all our things back here, and then very shortly after, I think maybe a year later, I having all of the stuff for a second location, decided that Glenwood Springs would be a better spot.
Oh,
So,
okay. That's yours.
yeah.
Nice.
So inevitably we opened in Glenwood Springs, basically moving the Castle Pines location to Glenwood.
Yeah. Awesome.
And then I, over 2020, I have always had a retail space in my Grand Junction salon. There's a big area for it. During 2020, COVID, all of that junk, we were sitting at home twiddling our thumbs as everyone else was doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're a service-based industry. And I was like really frustrated that I had nothing, I hadn't diversified to where I would have something online. So I had nothing online to push. Even I'm watching all the gyms and all that kind of stuff, like
Yeah.
them pivot and have like, doing classes online and doing all these things. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Teach people to wax their own eyebrows? Like,
Yeah.
it just didn't really translate to an online thing. So
Yeah.
it's really frustrating. I said, you know what, let's just do this retail space that we've always had. Like, let's double down and let's make it better. And let's like put some energy and time into this and let's get something going online. So I pivoted that space, rebranded my retail space as a standing boutique. That is now called Pepper and Pearl Boutique.
So cute. I want that pink fringe jacket, but in black because my soul is black.
I have a couple. I have some black for you. I'll have to show you.
Do you really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's screaming your name now that I think about it.
I feel like I like would like to wear pink, but I feel like when I wear pink, I draw attention and then I'm instantly like freaked out. Yeah.
Get it. I'm the opposite because if I almost wore an all black outfit the other day and I was like, this is not me. I don't
Yeah.
even function in this. I need
Yeah.
to throw some pink on.
Yeah.
So you're at the opposite end of the spectrum, but I think we feel the same.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, so we rebranded that and made it a boutique. I hired a photographer. I hired a social media person. Um, we do our own photo shoots. We bring things in. Then eventually we pivoted that, and now we do live sales twice a month, and an occasional pop-up shop at a event somewhere. Not a ton of those, but it has been so fun. Such a cool thing. I've brought my best friend on as kind of a contractor. She works with me and we do live sales together. It is just like girlfriends having wine and shopping and
Yeah.
sharing it with all of our friends. And it's been a blast. And so that was the next pivot that we made. And then the last business that I added to the mix was um, a blow dry salon. So where you just get a blowout, we don't cut, no color, anything like that, but just blowouts. It is called Dry It, and it is connected to Wax It in Grand Junction.
Nice.
So,
I that was what was missing when I moved to this area because I moved from San Diego
oh, cool.
area, and that's like even though I owned a salon, I still like to go out and get blow dries and stuff because you
Oh,
just want that like 45 minutes to like yourself. And so
totally.
that's super exciting. So you immersing yourself in the beauty industry, how was that? Was it pretty simple since you like started as a manager and like shifted over?
Yeah, I felt like I knew the back end okay, and was brave enough to ultimately, here's the deal. I had nothing to lose. I was 22.
Yeah.
And I had saved a little bit of money, and my parents were supportive, and I had nothing to lose. So I told myself I didn't have school debt because I was blessed enough that my parents paid for my college and had saved for that. And so ultimately, I kind of just looked at my business as like, here we go. It wasn't going to be wildly expensive. There's not a ton of overhead. We're service based.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I needed to buy all this inventory or buy, professional kitchen equipment or something like other people have to do. So
Right.
certainly that was a bonus. And I just looked at it like, dude, I have nothing to lose here. I know other 22-year-olds who have a car loan bigger than what I could potentially lose starting this
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
So, whatever, I guess if I bomb it, I'm going to go get a real job and I'll have to pay off a Mercedes loan that I don't get to drive.
Yeah.
So,
No, you wouldn't, even if you bombed it, you wouldn't get a real job, Christine. You would.
probably now knowing what I know, I wouldn't, but I could. And
Yeah.
quite frankly, there's a lot of days where Walmart greeter sounds good.
Oh my God, I know, right?
Checking out and having zero responsibilities and just like clocking in, saying hi to people, waving, handing out some stickers, and then clocking out and going home. That sounds really awesome some days. There's a lot of days like
Yeah.
that owning a business is wild and don't want the responsibility. So truthfully, I get it. So who knows?
So
Catch me on the right
what
day
would
and you might
what
see
would
me.
you say were some struggles that you faced?
Oh man. I mean, it is a laundry list. Certainly I have a staff of anywhere from like 10 to 15 depending on the time. And certainly that is hard. It's really hard to manage people.
Hmm.
That is a hard thing to do. And I have also, on the flip side of that, I have been wildly blessed. I feel like God has given me so many people and just placed them in my life at the right time. And so I've also been on the positive end and the benefiting end of working with people and managing people. But I do have, I will say, and they are wonderful, and I want to give them a shout out. Two of my managers have been with me for like 6 months shy of the 15 years.
Oh my gosh.
And
That's
that
so
never
wonderful.
happens.
Yeah.
So they are my best assets. Easy. I could like get emotional about it. But
Really.
they are wonderful people, girls, women that are in my life that I have been able to watch. They started working for me when they were 18.
Oh wow.
So it is like such an awesome thing. But on the flip side, so that is the like awesome side of it. On the flip side, working with people is really hard. I have definitely been doing it long enough, which is weird to say, but to see a couple of different generations come through as
Hmm.
employees. And it is definitely based on like society and things. I have definitely weathered different storms with different um generations that come through. So hiring 15 years ago is not the same thing as hiring now.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a really important point because shit's always going to change,
Yeah.
right? And you like how you, I love that you use the word pivot during the pandemic because that's what I call it too. It's a pandemic pivot. It's like what we did. And you do have to continue to reinvent yourself, continue how you reinvent, how you hire people, how people stay. Like obviously you're doing a good job if you got two OGs still in the house. Like that's
They're wonderful.
so amazing. But I mean, the struggle is always going to be people because no one, what I learned when I had the salon is like, no one's going to love it like you do. No one's going to have the eye that you do. No one's going to see the vision like you do. And so when, like, I didn't even have I told them, I was like, I'm not going to make you sign anything because you're adults. You know how to close a shop down. Right. And then I'd be like, how do you leave the water on? Like, do I
Yeah,
really need to
no.
have a checklist? Do I really need to have a checklist? We did need to have a checklist.
See a lot of checklists.
And like how I think the hardest thing with people, it's also we let our emotions get in there, right? Versus like we want to be the business owner that has these boundaries, that's doing these things, but then also at the end of the day, we're all people. So
Mhm.
how do you manage that line of writing business Christine and like empathy Christine?
So I think you posted a meme the other day of someone saying like somebody was crying and you handed them, here's some new toothpaste.
Yeah.
Is that you?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was me.
So I have yet to see that one. That was new for me. But I have always identified with the meme of there's like somebody crying next to a toilet and somebody's patting them on the back with a broom
Yeah.
saying like they're there, like I don't know how to handle this. So that is very much me. I don't really do like I could get emotional about happy things and like that kind of stuff, but I am really not, empathy is not my wheelhouse.
Do you think that's because you're not actually in the business, like performing like the services that you are like you've started out as owner, boss?
I mean, it's certainly helpful. I have always, so like you were saying, like the checklist, I am a systematic person. I have had, and I love it. It's weird. Like I have thought about, like people will ask me, is waxing like your passion? Heck no. I don't even do it. No,
Yeah.
it's not my passion. Do I think it's a great service? And do I think we do a great job? And do I think that we have like, do I think we're awesome at it? Absolutely. And
Well,
I
that's never gonna, people are not gonna stop paying for that.
right.
Like
Yeah, no, it has
they're
served
not.
my people and my customers and my employees and myself so well. And absolutely, I think it's wonderful service. But is that my passion? No. And so when I think about like why am I so passionate about my businesses, it's truly comes down, I am a systems person. I
Hmm.
love to watch a system work
Yeah.
really efficiently and then to make tweaks to like get it to go even more efficiently.
Yeah.
And so that's the part of business that I really love. And so I actually feel like I don't necessarily have a hard time doing these like walking the line of empathy and of like business
Mm-hmm.
and like get it done
Yeah.
straight,
Yeah.
direct boss. I don't have a hard time with that because I've carved out systems that take the emotion out of it.
Yes.
And so it is just black and white.
Well,
And
it's easy to get to reprimand someone when you have a system, right? Because you're like, we've already discussed this.
yeah,
This is not, you didn't create this yourself. Christine created it, and Christine showed you. And now you're showing Christine that you can't follow the system.
yeah, totally. It's really easy. And I always have something to like kind of point to and say, like, here's where we went wrong. Here's how we fix it. Are you capable of meeting these expectations?
Yeah.
It's like
No.
really easy. I am such a black and white, like I literally can make everything a math problem. Like I will like you will get emotional about it and I will
Yeah.
figure things out and then I will say, did 2 + 2 = 4 here? No, it did
Right.
not. We are wrong. We gotta fix it. This is how we fix it. Can you be the two that is gonna meet the other two and equal 4?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
So I know who listens to this podcast, and I know a lot of people ride the emotional side of it.
Okay.
So I always tell everyone I'm like the weirdo. Like as soon as like if we were to like meet at the bar and I
Mhm.
have like 2 drinks, I'm like, so what do you do? And then I'd be like, do you have an SOP? What's your plan? Da 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 da. And so even a lot of business owners don't know what an SOP is, right? So just standard operating procedures. Did you create this SOP yourself, or did you hire someone out?
Oh, I created it by
Okay.
trial and error.
So let's say someone was writing the emotional
I
line.
will say, I don't want to give myself all the credit though. Very quickly, I do
Do
want to
it. It's
say
fine.
that my parents are both in the business world doing all these things professional. I talked to them a lot, obviously, got lots of input there. And then also, I did have a general operating idea because of where I came from, the salon that was originally there.
Okay.
So I don't want to say that I just like dreamed it up and it was all my idea. It was definitely like pulling from all sorts of things that worked for others and seeing what didn't work for others.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, if someone has a business and they do not have operating procedures, how important is it for them to do it yesterday?
10, 11 and a half.
11 and a half.
It's like
Love it.
you're what?
You'd be surprised. But so hiring out, do you think that would remove some of the emotion from someone who, because I'm like Ed, like that meme that I posted,
Mhm.
even in my marriage, like if I'm mad or something's wrong, I'm like immediately drive it home. This is what's going on. This is how we fix it and move on. And my husband's a lot more sensitive than I am. And then he feels it personal. And I'm like, oh no, we're not mad. We're moved on. I forgot about it. And he's like, how are you in such a happy mood right now? You were just rude to me. And I was like, no, 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 it wasn't rude. I just fixed our marriage. We're fine now.
Very
So
good.
yeah, personalities play, yeah, a huge part. Um, yeah. So it's nice. I like that you resonated with it. I was
Yeah,
like,
totally. No, yeah, that's I joke like my best friend is a feeler and um we yeah, like I have no filter also. And that's the I will say like owning a business, I haven't actually been in the business world as an employee.
yes. Hmm.
I have always owned a business. And so I it's funny because like I have had the benefit of never really having to filter myself. So
Yeah,
now I don't think I could
right.
like too deep. I don't know. But I just but I also I'm not like wild because I need these people.
Hmm.
Like I'm not blind to the fact that like I'm not even licensed. If this all tanked, like I'm done. I couldn't even come grind it out myself for a few weeks.
Yeah.
So like it's a ebb and a flow, but no, the systems are wildly important to keeping the peace and to take everybody's emotions out of it because I like I said, I probably mine aren't really wrapped up in it, but theirs might be.
Yeah. Especially in a service industry, that's like what I see a lot because it's not, there's just so much to it. So if someone wanted to start a business, what would you say would be a great starting point?
There's so many ways I could answer this. I mean, okay. So I maybe this goes without saying, but you need to build a really solid foundation. So you need to go and like do things correctly. A lot of times I've heard the phrase of like building the airplane as you're flying it. And we're all doing that as business owners. Like, let's be real. We're changing things up. Things are changing. You're doing it. You just started on like a Thursday and you didn't even really, like you're like, oh crap, I need an LLC. Like, okay. And then you get one. You started 3 weeks ago, whatever. And I
Yeah.
get that
Yeah.
because I do encourage you. My other bit of, you need to try to have a solid foundation. Like, it is never too late to go back and fill in the blanks that you skipped when you were just winging it in the
Yeah.
beginning. Definitely do that because you want your business to be capable of sustainable growth. And so definitely build your business with growth in mind. Do not pigeonhole yourself into this thing where if you can't grow beyond this place because XYZ, you built it in a way that isn't even capable of growth.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, in my business, in the beginning, holy moly, would it have been helpful for me to be licensed? Heck yes,
Yeah.
because I had a payroll from day one.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was really challenging. And there were years where I was grinding it out, not paying myself, of course,
Right.
because I had a payroll to pay. And we were even making some money and I couldn't pay myself because I had to just keep reinvesting it into the business
Yep.
over and over and over. And there were times where I was like, oh my God, like maybe I should look for like an online esthetician program so I could just get licensed. So like I could wax people for free, basically to
Right.
myself, and be an
Yeah.
employee here. But had I done that, I think my growth would have been less
I think
because
so
it would
too.
have been really scary for me to transition out of that role and then plug in an employee to work. I mean, nobody probably would have worked as many hours as I would have. Like you were saying, nobody loves your business like you do.
Yeah.
So it would have been that would have been a crazy transition to have to make. And I think
Well,
I would have
yeah.
stunted growth.
Well, working in your business and on your business are different, right?
Oh,
And
yep,
so you get wrapped up, like you said, when you're working in your business because you're physically, you rip, you see a dollar. You rip, you see more dollars, right? When you're working on your business, it's that like slingshot effect where you're like, we're growing, I promise, I promise. You just gotta wait. And then it's like, nah, I got paid, right?
totally.
So that transition, man, is huge of working on your business. And
Yeah.
as an owner, that's how you're gonna make money later on, really.
Yeah, but you definitely have to keep growth in mind and you have to keep the bigger picture in mind because there's a lot of um stunting decisions that you can make when you're building your business in the beginning, especially that you're going to look back and be like, gosh, I wish I wouldn't have done that. I wish I would have just taken the risk. And that's the other thing is that my other advice would be to just do it. You're not going to be ready. You're never going to be ready.
Right.
And
It's like having kids. You're
yeah,
never going to know it all. You're never going to be
right.
ready.
Just do it. And like, shoot, I even had, this is like a funny story to me now, and I wish I had it. I wish I would have cut it out of the paper. But when I was starting, somehow, I don't even know how, um, somebody in the Daily Sentinel wrote an editorial. That's our local paper. Wrote an editorial about how silly it was that I was opening a waxing salon. Literally, like I was like 22. I was like 22, had no like idea even like what I'm doing, and I like couldn't have been more vulnerable really, but also I didn't really know, so like whatever. But I remember somebody telling me like, hey, somebody wrote an editorial about you in the
Go to
paper.
the library and get that piece of paper.
I should.
Print it
I
out.
need to go find it because it literally said how many hairy people could we possibly have in this valley to require a full body waxing salon. And so now I'm like 15 years later and I'm like laughing. And it was a dude who did it, and an older dude. And like, that's also not my people. So of course you don't understand it.
Right.
But like, what a silly, funny thing. And it didn't even affect me. Like,
You're
I
all,
just,
do you keep buying razors because your hair grows back? Just
yeah,
wondering.
yeah, totally. Like, and it's just funny now, but like, I didn't, it's great. Like, you're gonna have people that are not gonna get it. And
Always.
like, that's also a great thing because that means it's probably not being done the way you want to do it.
Yeah. I love
So,
it. Christine, thank you so much for taking time today.
yeah,
I love it. You did great. You crushed it.
you.
Air high five.
High five. Here for it.